What do you mean highly misunderstood?
I mean, he's a sea creature, right? Kinda, sorta.
Well, he's like a deep sea god, I guess is the best way to put that.
Right. People think that he wants to kill them, though, all the time.
I mean,
just
he does. It's. I guess you might be right with him. Wait a minute.
That's never good.
I think the podcast just started without us again.
Oh man, this thing's gotten a little too sentient, man.
No, you don't understand. It played the music this time.
Wait, it doesn't do that.
No, it never plays the music.
What is going on here, man?
We're losing control of this thing. Oh my god. Okay, well, we're live. Apparently. I don't know how much of the Cthulhu conversation got live, but nonetheless.
Just Cthulhu.
Alright, so anyways, hello everyone, and welcome to the Frantic Talks podcast, which has decided to go live at random points in time now. I feel like we should just sit here one time and just not talk, and just let it happen,
I mean, works for me.
Anyways, I am your host, Frantic. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host,
Grunt.
And we're here to talk about Cthulhu. Wait.
And games. And wait, what?
Gaming. That's right. We're here to talk about gaming.
And junk, typically.
Typically. Alright, guys. So, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of different random topics. There's all kinds of different stuff here. This new character's coming to Injustice. Battlefront 2 apparently takes 8 years to do anything in it. We have a really funny late to the party story. We always love late to the party stories. And the last anecdote before we jump into everything is Grunt and I are both apparently dying from sinus head cold things. So if we sound a bit different than normal, forgive us. It's just the winter time and our bodies hate us. So
that's true.
With all that said, let's go over how you can continue the conversation, how you can get to us and talk to us about all the random stuff. If you're watching the video or the stream, you'll notice on screen all the wonderful links to get you to connect with us, starting with Twitter, which is right next to me and right next to Grunt. Those are our tags. I'm at FranticJ3. He is at OnyxSpartan, ONYXSpartan, all one word. And we are at Frantic_Talks up there in the logo. Isn't as obvious, but it's still there. Also, straight above me. It's implied, yeah. Straight above me, Facebook.com/Frantic Talks, all one word. Towards the center of the screen there, Twitch.tv/Frantic Talks. And on the far end above Grunt, FranticTalks.com, the mothership, all the stuff I just mentioned, and more in the footer, along with podcasts, articles, and the like. And magic.frantictalks.com for Magic the Gathering needs and wants. We just had Grunt open some booster packs right before we went live. It was a lot of fun, as he shows you on screen now. Lots of Magic cards. It was fun.
About 30 of them. Well, minus tokens.
But you can join in all our conversations. Let us know your opinions on the articles and stuff we talk about today. Also, let us know if any feedback, if you thought something was weird, if you don't like something we said, whatever it is, let us know. We're always open to hear you guys' feedback. It's a podcast for you guys, mostly. We just kind of sit here and talk and have fun with it. So, with all that being said, we like to start this thing off without sentientness by usually saying one question. And that question simply is, Grunt, how was your week?
Well, like you said earlier, I had a cold, so it was pretty boring. Really didn't have the energy to do much of anything.
I was about to say, were you incapacitated with that cold?
Yes.
Because I went to work through mine, and it was really, I just had a lot of, like, throat stuff, but really runny nose.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it was, but it wiped me out.
I get you.
So, yeah, I haven't played Assassin's Creed Origins this week, which has kind of been sad. I've been wanting to go back to ancient Egypt because you remember I was there last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he went live from ancient Egypt, if you guys remember.
Yes.
Totally not screwing with you. He totally did.
Yes.
Moved his whole room and everything. Keep going.
Yep. No, the whole house. Just picked it up and shipped it over.
Take Bikini Bottom and push it someplace else.
Yep. Played a little bit of Destiny 2 the other day with Freak Show.
Yeah.
Faction wars are up this week, so trying to get New Monarchy to win. I want their sword. Dead Orbit is the worst orbit.
Well, yeah, I can agree with that.
Start work on my next article because that's due Wednesday, and I kind of need to do that. Whoops.
Hey, it's okay. I didn't even get around to the booking of the Frantic versus Freak Show until like Thursday night, so I wrote it all out like a week in advance and still didn't do it.
You got time, man.
Apparently.
So yeah, that's pretty much been it. It's been boring since I've been sick.
Yeah, I can see that.
How about your week?
Rather the opposite. You know, having been kind of head colded up and all that fun stuff. I still had to go to work and everything. I'm actually running low on sick days, and that means I only have 4 hours of sick time. But it's okay. I'm not contagious as far as I can tell, or else my girlfriend would have been sick a week ago. So I think it's just my body hating the seasons. Because I feel like this happens every year around this time.
Sounds like your body hates you in general, too.
It does. It doesn't let me eat gluten. It gets really upset at me if I have too much caffeine. There's a lot of random things, especially that gluten one. That one's really rough.
It does.
But in terms of what I did this week, kind of a random assortment of different things. Let's see. I've tried to play a couple different games. So typically how my gaming goes is I end up playing only a couple of typical games. So you'll hear us talk about Destiny a lot. That's on the list of stuff to talk about because their weekly update this week had some interesting things to point out. We typically play a lot of Destiny. Every now and then we'll splash in some Halo, which, speaking of which, I just played a round of the Storm level in the Halo 3 campaign because I haven't actually beaten it on my Master Chief Collection, so I was like, I'll slowly work my way through that. And earlier today, I played a little bit of Doom. I finally reinstalled Doom and was like, I need to play this because I really like the soundtrack and only played a couple levels of it. And what was really funny is it tells you the last time you played as in the save file, literally a year to the date I hadn't played it. So just something inside of me clicked and said, hey, turn it on and play it. And then it turns out I'm playing it exactly a year ago or a year to date or something like that. It was really...
You should play Doom today. Why today, mind? That's oddly specific.
Yeah, very specific. Play a little bit of Rocket League, as always throwing a random round of that just to have fun. But last night I had some friends over and we played a couple of different games, namely Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. And this is one that I was recommended. I think I saw a Reddit thread where they said, hey, what are some good couch co-op games to play in this ever dying market of couch co-op games? And they said, someone said Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. It had 100,000 upvotes or something stupid like that. And I was like, oh, well, not 100,000, but hundreds of, maybe thousands of upvotes. And I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I went and checked out a video of it and was like, yeah, sure, it's on sale. Good timing. So I went and bought it. And then me and the lady friend played it about a month ago. And it was 2 people, and it's designed, I think, more for 3 or 4 people, because we got through about the first mission, or first couple missions, and then we were like, oh, that's not bad, we might play it again sometime. I wasn't too upset, whatever, I spent like maybe $5 on it. And then we had some friends over last night and decided to boot it up again, and it got really, really fun and really hilarious. So what this game is it's you're all on the same screen and you're in a spaceship, and the lovers part is that the whole strongest power in the world and the universe is love, and then anti-love infects the world, and you have to spread love and joy. It's really cheeky, but these anti-love things, there are a lot of different spaceships that are attacking you, and you have this big, like, gumball-looking spaceship where you have different spots that you can control. So there's like a shield that you have to move around to try to defend your ship. You have 4 different turrets, you have a driver's seat, and then you have this kind of like one-time use cannon that shoots a bunch of big shots, and then it has to recharge. So there's about 6 different spots to manage, and you have a max of 4 people. So it's a matter of just doing teamwork and having people do stuff. So I was on shield duty. Well, we'd swap people off on driving, and people would be jumping in and out of the turrets. And what really made it hilarious is you get different power-ups, right? So you can, put a power-up gem on your turret, and it shoots more shots. Or you get a laser turret if you get the right gem. Or there's a metal turret where you shoot, like, spikes and stuff. And
that's so metal.
Oh, and what's really funny is this was all really entertaining to begin with, and then my friend, who just loves experimenting and being stupid in games, was like, no, we're gonna power up the rechargeable shot, the one that takes a bit to recharge. So he kept throwing different stuff on it. We got to see crazy stuff. But I think the funniest one is we were like, we haven't put a metal gem on that yet. We were putting the metal gem on the shield. The shield turns into like a battering ram at that point. We were like, let's put it somewhere else. So he took it and put it on this rechargeable shot that it slowly rotates around the ship. So you have to wait for it to hit a point if you wanted to hit certain things. He put a metal gem on it, and it just turns into a gigantic buzzsaw that runs around your fucking ship and annihilates anything in its path. So we were just... Oh my god,
that sounds amazing.
It was. We just fucking, like, jumped straight into the most crowded area of enemies and just were like, fire the buzzsaw, and it just started annihilating shit. And then you can, once you beat enough levels, you can upgrade your gem slots. So you can actually combine gems. So you have power gems, laser gems, metal gems. You can put them together and make different combinations. And yes, if you double down on gems, you get even more absurd things. So we doubled down on the metal gem, and the buzzsaw shoots out and then has more buzzsaws around it spinning. So it's just this big never-ending buzzsaw thing. So it was a lot of fun. We ended up playing it for about 2 hours before we were like, all right, we should try to play another game before the night's over.
But this is so much fun.
It was a ton of fun. We were having a lot of fun with it, and I think the alcohol definitely helped. It wasn't like we were shit-faced, but it was making it even more entertaining. And that was basically my week for the most part. There were probably a couple other things I didn't mention. The fact that it's technically 4 p.m. Eastern if you don't observe daylight savings time. I was going to make a joke about that. I was like, we go live every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern or 4 p.m. Eastern, depending on the time of year, just because it was daylight savings this past week. But
I mean, I think you technically just did.
Yeah, there you go. So I did not say that we go live every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I forgot that as I was focusing on where the links were on screen. So if you ever want to catch us live, that's when you can join in on the conversation. I don't know if we have anybody with us right now, but
it's either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern. It just depends on what time of year it is.
Yep, for sure. It's all about that daylight savings. So.
Right.
All right, so we also played, because I'm going to use this to segue, Injustice last night. I have the original version of Injustice, and I have all the characters unlocked. We played a little bit of that right before they left. I forget what other games we tried to play in between, but that was basically it.
I hear you like turtles.
Dude, I do. And I want to point out that we have some articles that were posted, and I'll come back to Injustice. I was going to use it as a segue, but then I forgot we should mention articles.
You ruined it.
It's okay. It's okay. People probably know where this is going anyways. So we posted another Frantic vs. Freak Show article. At this point, we're getting really creative with the names. The last one was FVF4, A New Hope. Now we're at The Empire Strikes Back-ish. So we're just being stupid. But anyways, if you were...
You guys for these titles, though, are making it really easy to post on the social media pages. So
we're directing you down a path. And I will say, so at this point in time, so what FVF is me and Freak Show we have this wrestling booking game called Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. I'm going to ignore that, Grunt. I totally heard it, and everyone heard it, but we're going to ignore it. Called Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. You put together a roster of wrestlers, or you inherit one, get some mods for it that can be real-life wrestlers, whatever, and you're a booking company, you book the wrestlers. And it's more than just, here's some cool matches. There's a lot of ratings to it. It's a lot of fun. It takes a little bit to get used to. Freak Show's a lot better at it than I am in terms of getting better ratings and crowd sizes. But I'm slowly getting better. I almost broke 100 people at my crowd this week. So
it's just a matter of time, man.
So anyways, we hired a decent amount of people, same roster, and started at the very same spot, and we're trying to see who can book, quote unquote, the better show or shows. And it's totally subjective at that point. If you're going to go purely off of ratings, Freak Show has me beat by a landslide, but I want to say my writing brings me back into the race. But speaking of the writing this week, we got really stupid, and it's going to continue to get even stupider. I think Grunt knows where I'm going with mine because I was telling them about it, and Freak Show decided to go all out with the silliness too, and it's making for quite a fun read. Time. It's so silly. I don't want to spoil any of it. You want to just go read it because some of the stuff is silly. But anyways... Also, I posted an article called Par for the Course, and it kind of just discusses big names in the industry and when they create something. So the article kind of talks about how Metallica recently came out with an album last year and how it got a lot of good praise and how I don't really agree that it should have gotten the praise. Not because it's necessarily a bad album, but because they didn't release something that sucked. And that's kind of the premise for it. Also talks about Star Wars. I think Green Day is mentioned, and it just kind of comes to its own conclusion out of that. And of course, it's all about progression. You know me. I like my progression. So that's pretty much everything that came out. We also had the podcast, of course. If you want to go listen to that, you can. iTunes, all the stuff. Click into the links in there. But anyways, we played Injustice last night, and it was fun. And I played a Green Arrow, and he's green. You want to know what else is green? Turtles.
Turtles.
I'll segue somehow, motherfucker. I'll do it. I'm excited. So, it's on screen, but you might not have guessed it yet. Grunt, if I could pick any character or characters to come to an Injustice game, who do you think I would pick, considering most of my favorite characters are already in the game?
Well, let's see. Green Arrow is in there. Yep. I honestly can't think of any other of your favorite characters.
If you could see my shirt, I'm technically wearing one, but it's not a DC character.
It's super big. Well, wait.
I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt.
Spider-Man. Wow.
But Injustice is DC, so they have Dr. Fate now. Injustice 2 had him installed. Batman's always been there. A lot of my characters are already in the game. Who else could I even want?
You like green.
That's possible.
Turtles are green.
You're right.
You also like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What if I told you that they're coming to Injustice 2?
I would totally believe you, because they are.
It's amazing. So, can I give some background real quick? That's basically the headline here. That's all you need to know. They don't have a date yet. December 12th is when the Atom... So, they're actually coming with the Atom and the Empress. Atom, Ray Palmer, shrinks really small. Kind of like Ant-Man, but in DC... Enchantress, sorry. Enchantress is from the Suicide Squad movie, also from the comics, of course. But then there's also all 4 Turtles. So, the Atom, Ray Palmer, he is on December 12th for early access. They haven't really said anything else. We don't know when they're coming. Probably before Christmas, I would imagine. But can I say something really cool? There's a lot of background to this that you probably want to know, or don't want to know, but I'm going to share it anyways. If you didn't know how the Turtles got their origin story is, they got hit by some green ooze and became turtles. That's the one everybody knows. If you understand the very beginning of it, this makes it a little more funnier. So the original Turtles were a parody of the Daredevil comic. So the Daredevil comic... The very original origin story was he stepped out in front of a car as a kid, Matt Murdock, and the car like swerved and like kind of crashed, and a bunch of chemicals got in his eyes and he got blinded. So he's a blind guy that runs around with like heat vision, basically. So the guys who made the Turtles thought this was really funny and decided to feed off of that. And without Marvel's permission, used that origin story without explicitly stating this was Daredevil. And all that stuff that burned his eyes fell into the sewers and created the Turtles. So technically they share the same origin story. So you already can see we have a Marvel background or a backstory in a DC game, quote unquote.
This is getting too real.
But what's even funnier is the Turtles also, a lot of their characters and inspirations were all just ripped from Daredevil. Master Splinter is a direct ripoff of Stick, who is Daredevil's mentor. The Turtles' mentor is Master Splinter. Daredevil's mentor is Stick, who's this old guy who uses a stick, and that's it.
And that's what Master Splinter is.
The Foot Clan that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fight is a parody of The Hand, who is Daredevil's big enemy. Also in the Daredevil TV series, you will be very familiar with The Hand. They're a bunch of secret ninjas who've been there forever. The Foot Clan are led by Master Shredder and all this. There's a lot of parallels that they just kind of parodied it, and it's great. Fun fact, they also did not have color-coded bandanas in the original. That did not happen until the cartoon series for kids in the late 1980s. They all had red bandanas originally. Fun little fact. Anyways, the reason this is happening is because IDW, the comic publisher of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, in 2015 did a crossover with Batman. I have that comic. That's an amazing comic. I recommend you go read that comic. It is a fun read, and it's awesome. They are doing a sequel here very soon. They have announced it, and it should be coming sometime probably in mid-2018, early 2018, I imagine. What better way to promote it than to just throw the fucking Turtles in Injustice 2?
I mean, why not? Cross-promotion is great.
So I will admit firsthand I know way too goddamn much about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but oh boy do I love them.
I never would have been able to tell that.
So, some fun little facts for you. You might have learned something today, you might not have. I don't know, but that's just what I wanted to say.
My question to you now is, which turtle are you going to play as specifically?
Donatello, hands down.
All right.
He is my favorite. There is no question. I would play him, and then next would probably be Mikey. Mikey is most people's favorite. You know, he has all the funny jokes, pizza, all because I mean I think he was the one that coined cowabunga in the original one. Leo and Raph. Some people like Raph because he's tough and stuff, and then Leo's probably the least favorite, I think. So
poor Leonardo.
Well, I mean, he's the equivalent of the Boy Scout of the group. Always follow the rules. Master Splinter's always right. It's kind of hard to like a character like that. So, you know.
That's true. That is true.
People like Raph because he's a loner who has a temper, and they can maybe relate to that. But they relate most to Donnie and Mike because Mikey's funny, has a lot of fun, and just wants to have fun. Donatello's really smart. He has all these cool little gadgets and stuff. So it depends on what you like, but those are the two most popular characters. We're just going to talk about Turtles for the rest of this. Fuck everything else that I had. We're going to talk about all the cool stuff. So Bebop and Rocksteady. Are you familiar with Bebop and Rocksteady?
Nope.
Okay, we're not going to do this. I just wanted to. If you want to talk about turtles, someone message me. I will talk for days on end about the turtles.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, I'll probably get someone saying, "Oh, you're technically not right on one of those little details." Oh well, it's okay. All right, let's move on to another thing. Something we tend to play a lot and talk a lot about on here. You could say that it's almost our destiny to talk about this game.
All right. All right. Just where's the real Frantic?
I gotta prep myself for Freak Show. He's coming. I'll leave it at that. All right. So this week at Bungie,
please do.
We have some interesting stuff. So the clan stuff started. Grunt, you cover the rest of this. I feel like I've taken up too much time talking about nonsense.
Clan stuff? Okay. Well, hold on. I need to pull up the update because I don't remember half the stuff is in there.
Oh, god damn it. Grunt. All right.
Faction rallies. Those began this week. New Monarchy better win.
Hashtag Future War Cult.
I have a feeling Future War Cult might actually win because from what I've been told and what I've read on the internets, Future War Cult has some pretty decent weapons in their loot pool from the faction packages. So I just want New Monarchy to win because they're the best monarchy and they have a sword up for grabs, and I like swords. You like turtles, I like swords.
Hey, we're easy people to please here, clearly.
Right. Coming on December 5th, along with the...
I want to say... Well, there are people screaming outside, so if that came through, I'm sorry. But I want to say I'm really happy how the graphic on the Destiny, the Bungie Weekly Update is, because Future War Cult's front and center, and I don't have to cut off part of their bodies with our heads.
I mean... Okay.
I'll take every victory I can get, man. Like,
I really hope, though, that the way it works is my image is on the side of New Monarchy.
It actually is. Just kind of worked that way.
Thank you.
I'm technically covering up Dead Orbit, and then Future War Cult's dead in center.
Thank you. It would have been better, though, if Future War Cult and Dead Orbit were swapped, because that would have been, that would have been true Destiny right there.
Yeah, it would have. Because Freak Show's always in the center when he's here with us.
Right, and he's Mr. Dead Orbit.
Basically. All right, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
I mean, I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's amazing. Anyways, a big question from a lot of people have been, what about, these new consoles that have come out, like the Xbox One X, and its 4K and HDR graphics on December 5th, along with the launch of Curse of Osiris and the second season 2. Destiny 2 will be getting an update that will deliver high dynamic range lighting to the new consoles. You'll also see adaptive 4K resolution on the PS4 Pro and 4K on the Xbox One X.
So to explain what that means, so HDR, the Xbox One S and X already support. The PlayStation 4 supports. The original Xbox One does not. HDR it's one of those things that's very useful if you can't do true 4K. Adaptive 4K is up to 4K. So the PS4 Pro can't do true 4K on Destiny 2. Only the Xbox One can. Specifically the Xbox One X. Just to clarify.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yes.
The more you know.
Ooh.
Yes. So that is coming. I know a lot of people are happy about that because they bought it on PC. Now, I don't think it's necessarily fair to compare a top-of-the-line gaming PC to even the Xbox One X, because still a PC would look better than the console.
Right. It should.
But, well, yeah. I mean, that costs a lot more than $500, I'm sure.
Yeah. Usually the graphics card that would make it better is roughly $400 to $500.
Yeah. See,
depending on what one you look at. Don't get on me, PC elitist. I know my graphics card probably is better than the one on my Xbox, and it didn't cost that much. I don't care.
Did I accidentally strike a nerve there?
I just had to defend myself anytime I say something that is partially true before I get gatekeep the hell out of whatever I'm talking about.
Okay. So yeah, you'll be getting that. I think it'll be cool. A lot of people are excited for that.
Yes. So I want to say something. I thought that they had said they weren't going to do 4K. I could have sworn that was something they said. It was like the consoles can't handle it. I thought that was something they said back when they first announced all this.
I honestly do not remember. I do not know if they did or not.
Yeah, I just thought they had said something about that. I mean, it's fine if they don't. I mean, it's fine if they didn't say that. I thought they did, though. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, interesting.
I mean, depending on when they said that statement compared to when maybe they themselves had information about the consoles. I think the PS4 Pro is out at that point, though, wasn't it? When Destiny 2 came out?
Yeah, the PS4 Pro was, and that's why I thought they were like, well, with the adaptive 4K, they were like, yeah, we're not going to do it. But
console parity or something like that, most likely.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, I don't remember what they said exactly, if they did say anything about it.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Let's see, I briefly mentioned the Clarion Call for Destiny 2. The first Clarion Call starts November 17th. It'll be an opportunity for you to earn double XP for everything you do if you're playing with a fellow clanmate in your fire team.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes. It will run from November 17th to November 20th.
So this means that you basically just get bright engrams faster if you're at a top level. Right?
Kind of, probably, yeah.
I guess that's what makes this one different than Destiny 1, because we get the weapons with all their perks unlocked. So a double XP would be really cool if you have a bunch of weapons and you don't have enough motes of light. So you would have been able to like get the double XP on the weapons, but now we just pretty much get a bunch of bright engrams, which are still cool. There's a lot of really cool shit with bright engrams. It's just
that's how I got my Sparrow.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of.
No, I bought my Sparrow with Bright Dust.
I bought the Mida multi-tool skin they had. I think it was a white one with all my Bright Dust or whatever.
You might have bought it.
I might have. Who are you and what have you done with the real grunt? Get the hell out of here.
But yeah, the Clarion Calls are designed in mind to bring people back to see what all has changed and what's new, what's basically happening currently in the game.
Right.
So they're not really designed with, getting rewards or anything fancy particular. It's just like, hey, play our game. Come see what we've changed about it. Stay if you like.
Seems like a decent incentive, I suppose.
Yes. If you are worried about it being, not being in a clan, you can join one. There's plenty of them out there. Join Rubber Ducky Death Squad.
Hashtag join Rubber Ducky Death Squad. Now that we have 280 characters, we can just do that. Like,
just do that over.
I don't know how many characters that takes up, but we still got plenty to spare.
We'll find out. I will find out after this tweet, after this podcast. But yeah, the future Clarion Calls will not require you to play with a clanmate. So I'll be kind of curious to see what they do with those. Moving on, they're looking at changing some things with guided games. A lot of things like people are wondering why there's no checkpoints in guided games. They're looking into ways that they can come between a happy medium, because they want guided games to be a point where you know where you're going to be starting. You don't go and queue up to join a raid and you're at the end of the raid on the last boss fight when maybe you wanted to start it from the beginning.
Right, that would be really unfortunate. You'd still get your achievement, but that's kind of suck.
Yes. They've added a few, or they will be adding a few quality of life fixes for it. Like they're adding a queue so you know when you found a guide. It'll support the Nightfall and the new raid content with Curse of Osiris DLC. They're looking at maybe chat functionalities for some stuff, but overall it's just going to be some quality of life improvements that they're looking at for guided games based on feedback that they have heard from the community.
Which is always good. And this next bit is very interesting in general, because they're kind of changing one of the core things about Destiny that we all knew and just kind of knew in the back of our minds.
Yes. Frantic, what time does reset usually happen in Destiny?
At some point in time. Isn't it like... It's like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. for Eastern. Somewhere in that realm, isn't it?
Yes. It was always weird with it and how it worked with daylight savings times. With this podcast, it, doesn't seem to care about daylight savings time being sentient and all that.
Hey, it just reads the system time, I think. So, system time says 3:33.
All right. So, with the release of the Curse of Osiris, reset times will be a changing. Like times are changing, you know.
Times are changing. So what time are they changing
to? Currently, it takes place at 1 a.m. Pacific.
So that's 4 o'clock.
4 a.m. Eastern. Now it will be moving to 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 12 p.m. Eastern. So your reset will be happening in the middle of the day.
Or 1700 UTC is the actual one they reference, which is 5 p.m. Europe time is the best way to put that.
Yes, it is. So you will either be having your reset changed having your reset changed. What? Having your Destiny reset happen either in the morning, the early morning. Well,
it just depends.
Early morning, as in the sun is actually up by now.
Yeah.
Not pre-dawn.
Right.
Time, or you will be having it happen early evening.
So this is so they can have weekly resets coincide with content releases. That's the reasoning behind this. They aren't just changing it for fuck all, basically. They're doing it because there was a lot of issues with content releases and...
Right. A big thing that happened, and a lot of people were not too thrilled about with it, is reset time would usually roll around, in the middle of the night, and people would often do their nightfalls and all that stuff before the new content would come out, usually around like 2, 3 in the afternoon for you and I, rather.
Yeah.
Or in the evening for those over the other side of the world. And they are now, like you said, coinciding it more with content releases. So, Curse of Osiris comes out, you'll have the new Nightfall and all that stuff all at the same time. You won't have to be worrying, well, I just did a Nightfall 15 minutes ago. I'm not going to be able to do the new Nightfall.
Right.
So
that's what they're doing there, and that's basically everything in the update. They add some stuff about checking some PC stuff and then the community highlights area. But overall, that's pretty much everything in this update. A lot of interesting stuff, especially with that reset change. That'll be interesting. I don't think that's really going to screw with my rituals or anything like that, considering I was never up in time for the reset. But
that is true.
It'll be interesting to see. So, moving on here, something that's coming up that a lot of people probably have marked on their calendars. Others are probably like, oh god, here it comes. Black Friday!
So black.
So dark.
So dark and brooding.
So we're not really going to mention anything here besides the fact that a lot of websites, including Polygon, are going to have running lists of all the different, deals you can get. So far, I've seen a lot of stuff that's essentially just, 20, maybe 25% off a lot of different consoles, cheaper controllers, so controllers down to 40. Just some of the stuff that if you were looking into getting them, this is about the best time to be grabbing them. I would highly recommend... What?
That price on that PS4 is tempting already.
Yeah, the PS4 1 terabytes are going to be like a $200 buy, which is like the price of a new Switch. That's a pretty good buying price if you can get your hands on that.
Right.
And then the Xbox One S, or just Xbox One, I don't remember, it's down to like 190 at a 500 gig. Is it One S? Yeah. So if you don't care about 4K except for your streaming, the One S is a good option. It still does the HDR, so it can still look really great. If you don't have a 4K TV, you don't care. For 190, you can get a 500 gigabyte one. That's a pretty sweet deal, and that's on Newegg is where we saw that. But anyways, you can head over to Polygon, click on their Black Friday stuff. They have a running list. I didn't know Kohl's had Black Friday deals with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's really weird. I thought they were just clothing.
Oh no! Kohl's is more than just that.
So that's there, and then of course, don't forget about Cyber Monday. That'll also be a really good one to sit on your butt, order some stuff. Sounds like a fun plan.
So pretty much what I do right now.
Basically. All right, we're moving on here to another topic that really shocked me when I read the headline. What?
This is the one I think it is? About time?
Well, yeah, it takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time, like approximately as many hours as there is in a full-time work week.
Yeah. So if you don't have a full-time job, this is your option.
You can totally make Star Wars Battlefront 2 your full-time job.
You want to know why, guys? Because for some reason, it takes 40 hours in-game to unlock a hero. Now, this is a tad bit There's a little bit of deviation here, is the best way to put it. Someone posted in the Star Wars Battlefront subreddit with backing up data and game time. So the real reason is their credits are earned based on time played rather than on the old system where you would score in the match. So if you came out on top of your team with a 3.0 KD and a bunch of points and the rest of your team sucked and you lost, you'd be rewarded because you still did good, at least a tad bit. That's how it used to be. Now it's all about time played in game, which seems odd. I haven't heard of a system like that necessarily, but apparently it takes 40 hours. Someone else said it took them around 37 and a half to unlock a goddamn hero.
The only game I can think that did something similar to that was kind of how it was in Halo Reach with its credit system.
Oh, yeah.
Granted, it was a little bit more complex. They had both a base amount that you would earn from the time in the game, and that would, if a game went to full time, it would, be the maximum. If it went less, it would be some probably weird mathematical format of how the difference between that time.
Right.
But you basically earn a set amount for time completion for the match, and then you would throw in like your commendations, the progress you made towards those, and then I do believe there was what they called performance bonus, which was based on how how well you did in the match.
But it was such a small bonus, it was almost irrelevant, it felt like.
I think I only ever earned about like 120 credits.
Yeah, like it wasn't much, and we're talking like
performance bonus.
You need like 1 million to level up in the higher level, so it's almost negligible.
You needed 2 million credits just to friggin' buy the the lightning.
Yeah, the inclement weather.
Inclement weather, thank you.
Yeah. So that's the only one, and that was still kind of driven on, like, you could do challenges and weekly challenges and stuff to get points, so it wasn't purely credits based on how long you're playing. So apparently some people in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 world are a little upset, judging by the amount of upvotes of 2,115. A lot of people are upset. So it just makes me kind of glad I didn't buy the game. So
it's now 2,246, Frantic.
Oh, so it's different on your screen than mine. That's Reddit's algorithm for you, but it's a 97% upvote. So that means
it's still
not many people disagree, or bots. Yes. So that's the thing. That's the thing.
I mean, I think in that aspect, they're gearing more towards the people that are going to play their game every single day for multiple hours each day.
Mm-hmm.
But man, as a casual player myself, I would not waste my time.
Yeah, because it's like it says average match he played of a Galactic Assault was 11 minutes and 9 seconds. Credits per match he received was 275. It takes 60,000 to unlock a hero.
That's absurd. I'm really impressed that they actually took the extra time to sit down and break this out.
Mm-hmm.
Break it down.
Yeah, and he points out every minute you play you get 25 credits, which sounds reasonable, but a Trooper crate takes 3 hours of gameplay, and they don't include doesn't include when you earn in challenges. So apparently they do have challenges, but this person is doing this because they wanted to figure out after the first week it was out, what it's going to take to get certain stuff. Essentially, they're trying to figure out if investing their time is worth it, which is respectable indeed. So that's crazy to me. But the way I think of it, when I look at my Steam game library, the games I have played with 40 hours or more, I think there's like 3. I have 400 Steam games. I have only played a few games above 40 hours. Off the top of my head, I can think of Rocket League. I'm pretty sure Team Fortress 2 just hit 40 hours, and there might be one other, like the Borderlands games combined. I can pull it up right now and tell you, but for the most part, that's what's so ridiculous, is I've barely played any game above 40 hours. And just to earn one of the heroes in the game, that seems unreasonable.
And then you have to multiply that times how many ever heroes.
Well, I mean, there's probably Darth Vader, there's probably Rey, Kylo Ren. There's easily, I would guess there's 10, having not looked at all, but there could be less or more, but not by much. Like, it's going to be a lot of the main names, because you want to play as them.
Right. So, and if any of them, because more popular heroes, I would, assume they maybe put a, like, this hero costs 40,000 credits, or how many ever credits you said? 60.
It's 60.
This hero costs 60,000, and maybe playing as Darth Vader, you want to play as or Darth Maul, whatever. I know my Star Wars people. I swear, I don't.
I mean, you've said right name so far, so
that's about it. I can put faces. Like in my mind, I know what Darth Maul and Darth Vader look like.
As do most, I would argue.
Yeah.
If I ever needed to argue.
Don't argue. Listen here, Grunt. But they put maybe a higher credit amount on some of the more popular heroes. So maybe, Darth Maul or Darth Vader or both cost more than 60,000. So you have to add the time it takes to get 60,000 credits plus the extra time to get the difference between 60,000 and maybe 120,000. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
A lot of hours.
Yeah, you're looking at spending 2 full work weeks just to get 2 people.
That's
so.
Man.
Anyways, speaking of time, we're going to talk about the LA Times. And an article they posted as our final article here. It's our almost seemingly weekly late to the party article that we seem to always find.
Boy, are they late to the party.
We'll give you the headline, and we're probably
years late to the party.
Years late, yeah. We're probably giving them too little credit. Like, I don't think the LA Times is geared towards people like us who play games on a regular basis. But the question they pose is, are video games bad for your kids? And in the same headline, they say, not so much, experts now believe.
Man.
Well, who could have thought?
I surely wouldn't have.
I don't know what episode I said it in. It was probably every one of them. But you could probably listen to any random... There's a decent amount of ones where I've just been like, these games aren't bad for you. Like when the GTA shooter, where someone shot the place up and they blamed GTA, it was like, get the hell out. It's 2015 or 16 or whenever that happened. Like, stop. Oh, jeez. Okay. There isn't much to delve into here. This guy starts writing like he's writing towards a parent, and that would make sense considering it's the LA Times. It's not Polygon, Polygon basically makes fun of a lot of things like this. But essentially,
parents how they feel about their kids' video gaming, and you'll almost hear concerns about all the hours spent in a virtual world and a possibility of antisocial or even violent behavior.
But are these concerns valid? Is his ending question? No, they're not. Like,
I want to throw out the fact they use the word bigly. Come on, people. Stop.
My teenager son is a gamer. Bigly. And I've wrestled with how proactive I should be.
I know what the point that they're trying to make with that word is, but...
That's a really weird word.
I'm trying to stop here before I get into ethics and journalism.
Yeah, basically. So anyways, this kind of goes into saying that there was a lot of fear spread about a lot of stuff. Like people killing each other in Call of Duty. There's just... It kind of goes over stuff we've talked about before and stuff you probably heard in every single argument against this, where it's like, you're just wrong. Most of the time, these things are ways to channel either anger or to some people do it for escapism. And yes, a lot of it can be addicting, and that's where monitoring your children, like being a decent parent in my mind, is really where the difference is going to come in. Because if you let someone be completely absorbed in it and don't teach them the way to monitor themselves or how to manage themselves, any of that, then there's going to be a problem.
So what you're saying is, cough, cough.
Yes.
What you're saying is parents need to be parents.
Yes, that is literally the root of 99% of problems in kids. I will put money on that right now.
No, it's smartphones, social media, other modern technologies. That's weird to read technologies when it's hyphenated on the next line.
When I'm sitting at a freaking restaurant like I was last night, and I'm looking over at this party of like 10 people sitting at a table, and this little girl is screaming because random reasons. The reason is she's dying in a video game she's playing on her mom's phone while her mom talks to whoever it is sitting at the table instead of, parenting their child for 5 seconds. That's the real problem. It's not the games are to blame. It's never been that. When you look back in the 80s, when it was music, the Slayer and Judas Priest are putting satanic imagery in our music and our kids are killing themselves. No, that's not what it was. You're completely wrong. They found an out to the means that they had in their mind, and it can be directly related to how well they were raised to handle certain things. If no one knows how to handle pressure and they're given pressure, the way they handle it is instinctual. It is not. It's going to be whatever they feel. So if you're bad at parenting your child, which it's very hard to parent a child, I'm not going to sit here and say I could do it. I don't have a kid, but I know for a fact that is almost always the issues. When you look at studies of psychological things, it's like behavioral issues come from how the kid was raised. If they weren't taught boundaries or they weren't taught to respect certain people, they aren't going to do those things as they get older. When you're much younger, your mind is just going to it's going to take everything in at face value. When you get older, it gets harder to have to understand things. That's why we had so much political divide, because you hear one thing, you hear another thing. It's hard to figure out where you go besides what you feel. So when a kid gets all these things kind of thrown into their face when they're much younger, they don't have anything to base it off of, so they take it at face value. Why does dad hit mom? Oh, because that's just how life is. They grow up learning that. That's how all this works. It's not the video games. It is not at all the video games. It's how much involvement the parents had. And that's what it always will be. They just want to blame anything but themselves.
Right. And you know, back when I got my first Xbox, which was in 2003, I was only 10 years old when I was first playing the original Halo. Mm-hmm. But I was playing it with my dad, so it's like, you know, I'm kind of...
You're bonding.
Yeah, I'm bonding, and I'm getting kind of a lesson in, you know, it's okay to shoot people in games.
Mm-hmm. It's not real.
Pixels. But, you know, do it in real life. That's not good.
Yeah, and if someone isn't able to make the connection that it's not okay to do things in real life that you do in the games, then it's not the game's fault. It's not real.
There's many things that could be attributed to that, but in this sense, it's like what you said earlier. It's a parent being a parent.
Exactly, and that needs to happen. Like you just said, I played Halo when I was, I think, 7 or 8 when it first came out, and I played it with my dad. So I was in a very similar situation. I think I was 8. We played it, and we played it a lot, and it was just a ton of fun. But I'm smart enough to realize the difference there. Even at 8 years old, it was just like, oh, it's a video game. It's all fun and games. My parents put strict restrictions on me. How long I could play a game in a day. Once I got into high school, I was kind of free to do whatever I wanted. It was just when I was younger, it was like, you don't get more than an hour or two a day. And they were like, go outside and play. It's that simple type of parenting where it's like moderation, so they don't get addicted and they do what they want and have fun with it, but make sure that they're not, going overboard into something without being monitored. If I'm sitting in my room playing a game, they aren't monitoring me. If a kid is sitting on a tablet playing it, you're not monitoring what they're doing on that tablet. There has to be some sort of involvement. And the involvement was to get in and say, all right, you're done. Let's go do something else. It's that simple.
Right. And reading on in part of this article, I like how it talks about I guess you could say stigma that gaming in this aspect is not necessarily best for developing social behaviors. Well, I have preached many times that gaming is a social experience just as much as it is experiencing what the developers have created for us to play and experience and all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
And that's where... sorry, keep going.
So, a lot of times I have spent a couple hours just sitting in the tower or an orbit in Destiny, or just in an Xbox Live party, just talking with people, finding out what their day's like. Mm-hmm. So gaming can be social. And then I've found that out more as I've started tabletop games with other friends and that. There's nothing like a good several-hour session of D&D or even Magic, even other games, to really socialize with people. So gaming isn't antisocial.
No, it's not. And what I want to add to what you're saying is, if that is the primary source of learning how to socialize, there can be a problem. Because say I learned my social interaction from playing online video games. I've never had interaction with anyone. I was homeschooled, all that. Let's say I learned primarily...
Hey, wait a minute.
I know. So take out the fact that you had parents who taught you well. Let's just say I'm homeschooled. My parents don't teach me anything besides what's in the book. I go play video games. This is a very, very, narrow example here, but I play video games and that's how I learned to interact. And I'm playing, who knows, League of Legends, Call of Duty. one of the more toxic fan bases, just to prove a point here. If I'm playing with one of those and all I ever hear is people screaming when they don't get something their way, I'm going to learn very poorly from that. So we're able to be social in video games because we've kind of already been taught how to be social. We're just doing it without being face-to-face. So while I still agree with you that you can definitely be social, especially in D&D, that's definitely face-to-face. And if you're doing that with a parent, they can easily teach you the rights and wrongs of things in very simply. But if it's your primary source and you're not really learning from other people, you're just learning from random people and there's no interaction from the parent, there could be a problem. But that's, well, my 2 cents and what I wanted to add.
Right. It goes back to, parents need to be involved. And I agree with that. Using, Call of Duty or League of Legends, the social experience, the socializing you do from that is definitely not the right place or way to learn.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to learn how many ways you can tell someone you slept with their mother very quickly.
Yeah. You can learn a lot of different colorful words. And that's why they have the ESRB ratings don't apply to online interactions, because you cannot control how people act. But you can control, you can say what the in-game content will be. So,
right.
That's basically all I have to add about this. Like, I don't want to just keep defaulting back to it's all about the parents, but in reality, oh, look at the puppies.
It really is.
There's puppies on the video. Now they're gone. What the hell? Oh, there's a puppy again. Sorry. There's an auto-playing video on the LA Times, and it's just swapping through their headlines, and right now it's dogs.
Oh, that was amazing.
Well, now it's over.
But yeah, I know you don't want to default back to that, but I think that is really the biggest thing that you can say. A parent needs to be involved with their child. That's how you bring them up. That's how you raise them.
So, yeah, that's simply put, but not as simply done.
Right.
But still should be done.
I'm just going to basically reiterate what you said, so I'm not going to do that.
We can only repeat ourselves so many times where someone's like, all right, can we talk about something else? All right.
Talk about something else.
Yeah, let's talk about where you can continue the conversation and let us know what you thought about everything we discussed today. There was a lot of different stuff to take away from all that, but we'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Obviously, we are not the end-all, be-all when it comes to reasoning about these things or talking about these things. As much as we would like to be, we definitely want to hear your opinions. So, simplest way to do that is to hit us up on Twitter. I am at FranticJ3 right there. He's at Onyx Spartan, ONYX Spartan. We are at Frantic_Talks. And you can follow us, tweet at us, whatever you would like. You'll get a lot of different tweets. The Frantic Talks tweets out podcasts and articles. We tweet out a lot of nonsense. Grunt seemingly can only tweet Cthulhu right now. I've been tweeting random nonsense too. It's just kind of how it goes. Head over to facebook.com/Frantic Talks. All one word. Get more Facebook, former Twitter. Twitch.tv/Frantic Talks, where we go live every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, usually, depending on daylight savings and how Grunt's feeling that week. I shouldn't throw you under the bus like that. It's typically me that has to call it off. And frantictalks.com. Where
I'm pretty sure the reason we didn't have podcasts for a month was actually because of me. It was only caused by you by like 1 week, so.
Yeah, you might be right, and it's probably going to fall into that here shortly, but follow Frantic_Talks to find out when we'll have another one. Frantictalks.com, where you can find everything I just mentioned in the footer, along with all the podcasts and articles. Along with magic.frantictalks.com, where you can check out magic articles, all the fun stuff, all the like. Let us know what you guys think about all this stuff. Do you think it's parenting that's causing the issues with the whole video game blaming? Do you agree that video games are not to blame? Do you not? I'd love to hear.
Is it evil games?
Is it evil games? I would love to hear your opinion, because I've only truly ever heard opinions that are basically in line with mine, so I'd love to hear other opinions. That way it's not just an echo chamber. That's always a bad thing.
Even though this podcast basically is an echo chamber.
I mean, we do tend to agree on just about everything we talk about, so that can be a little less interesting than two guys screaming at each other disagreeing, but
I disagree.
No. That's probably true. Don't disagree. Like I'm adamant about being correct here.
Fine.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, everything, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys here soon. You got anything else to add?
Going to give a quick shout out to Merherder, who is currently streaming at Mixer all day for Extra Life. So
I saw him on Halo when I hopped on, so I was wondering what he was up to.
Yep, he's currently streaming for the kids. So
I think he's switched.tv/Merherder, so MYR.
It's Merherder,
technically.
Mixer.com.
Oh, is it Mixer.com? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, go check him out if you're watching live. If not, just go follow him.
Okay.
Simple enough.
Boom.
All right. Anyways, guys, let us know what you think, and that about does it for us. We will see you guys next time. I'm Frantic.
I'm Grunt.
And we'll see you again sometime soon.